Have you ever wondered if God knew your name before you were born? What if heaven had a plan for you before your very first breath? Tonight's story begins with a secret, a promise, a miracle, and a boy so strong he could tear apart a lion. But listen closely, because this isn't just a story about muscles. It's a story about a gift. And what happens when someone doesn't yet know how to carry it? Parents, if you want peaceful Bible adventures that help children fall asleep thinking about God's Word, make sure to subscribe and journey with us. Now, get cozy, because tonight we begin the story of Samson, the boy God chose. Long ago in Israel, when the enemies called Philistines troubled God's people, there lived a man named Manoah and his wife. Manoah and his wife had prayed for a child for many years, but no baby came. One warm afternoon, something impossible happened. A shining messenger appeared, an angel. Samson's mother gasped. "Do not be afraid," the angel said gently. "You will have a son." Her eyes widened. "A son?" "Yes. And this child will belong to God from birth." The angel's voice grew serious. "He must be a Nazirite. No cutting his hair, no touching anything unclean. He is set apart. He will begin rescuing Israel." Can you imagine hearing that? A baby chosen by God before he was even born. What do you think his mother did next? She ran to Manoah. A man from God came. He said, "We will have a son." Manoah looked amazed. A son? After years of waiting, hope filled their house. Manoah prayed, "Lord, please send the messenger again and teach us how to raise this special child." The angel returned. This time, Manoah bowed low. "How shall we raise the boy?" The angel said, "Raise him carefully. He belongs to God." Then, before their eyes, the angel rose in flames from an altar up into heaven. Manoah trembled. "We have seen an angel of God." Soon, a baby was born. His name was Samson. And as he grew, the Spirit of God began stirring in him. Something powerful lived inside this child. Something heaven-given. Little Samson was not like other boys. When he ran like thunder. When he wrestled, older boys could barely hold him. When danger came, Samson laughed. Fear seemed not to know his name. But there was something else too. He was brave and a little reckless. Can you guess why that might be dangerous? Because strength without wisdom can become trouble. One day, young Samson wandered through hills and vineyards. Birds sang. Wind moved through olive trees. Everything seemed peaceful. Then, a roar. A lion. A young lion leaped from bushes. Its eyes blazed. Its claws struck earth. What would you do? Run? Hide? Climb a tree? Samson stood still. The Spirit of God rushed upon him, and with miraculous strength he grabbed the lion and defeated it. Bare-handed. Yes, bare-handed. Who gave Samson that strength? God did. Not Samson, God. And that matters. Because gifts are never meant to make us proud. They're meant to make us trust God. But had Samson learned that yet? Not quite. When Samson came home, he said little, but whispers spread. There is something unusual about this boy. And they were right. God's power was moving. But Samson sometimes acted before thinking, and that can be dangerous. Have you ever rushed into something too fast? Samson often did. Years passed. Samson became a young man, strong, fearless, wild-hearted. One day he saw something that caught his attention, and trouble began. But we'll come back to that, because first, something mysterious happened. Later, Samson passed the place where the lion had fallen. He looked inside, and guess what was there? Bees, honey inside the lion, sweetness where danger had once been. Isn't that amazing? God can bring sweetness from scary places. Remember that. It matters. Samson scooped honey, he smiled, and turned it into a riddle. Out of the eater came something to eat. Out of the strong came something sweet. A puzzle, would you have guessed it? But Samson's adventures were becoming bigger, and so were his tests. Because having power is one thing, learning self-control that is harder, and Samson had much to learn. One evening, enemies threatened nearby villages. Philistines boasted, "No one can stand against us." But Samson burned with courage. He hated seeing people afraid. Sometimes courage is beautiful. Sometimes courage becomes pride. Can you tell the difference? Samson struggled too. One night under stars, his mother spoke softly, "My son, remember, you were chosen, your strength is from God. Do not forget." Samson looked at his long, uncut hair, moving in moonlight. "I know, Mother, but did he really?" "Maybe not yet. Have you noticed something?" God had given Samson strength, but he was also giving warnings. Warnings are kindness. They protect us. Children, when parents warn you, sometimes it's love guarding you. Samson was learning. Slowly, sometimes the hard way. Then came another test. A band of wild animals rushed fields. Villagers screamed. Children ran. Samson stepped forward. Again, God's power helped him protect others. People cheered, "Samson, Samson." And something dangerous grew, pride. People praising you can be tricky. It can make you forget who gave the gift. Have you ever been good at something? Sports, drawing, singing, school? Who gave you that ability? God did, just like Samson. But Samson began loving adventure more than wisdom. That was the turning point. A hero can become careless, a gift can become misused, and bigger tests were coming. Much bigger. One evening, Samson sat alone. Wind whispered, stars shone. And deep inside, perhaps he wondered, why did God choose me? Maybe you've wondered too. Why did God make me? Here is the answer. For purpose. For goodness. For him. Samson had purpose, but purpose must be protected. Years later, people would tell stories. Did you hear? The boy chosen before birth fought lions. The Spirit of God is with him. But some elders worried. Strength alone is not enough. They were right. Because the strongest muscles cannot replace a wise heart. And Samson's heart still needed shaping. Then something happened. A choice Samson made that would begin a chain of trouble. A choice about love, about desire, about listening or not listening. But that belongs in the next chapter. Because every great adventure has a cliffhanger. And Samson's is coming. Before our story ends tonight, remember this. God chose Samson before birth. God gave him strength. God had a mission for him. But even chosen people must learn obedience. Even gifted people need wisdom. Even heroes can make mistakes, and still God can work through them. Isn't that wonderful? Samson looked toward dark hills one last time. Wind moved through his uncut hair. His mother's words echoed. You were chosen, far away. Trouble was already stirring. Enemies were watching. Tests were coming. And Samson, the boy God chose, was walking toward a destiny bigger than he knew. Would he use his gift wisely? Would strength become pride? Would God still use him? We'll discover that in the next adventure, when Samson faces his greatest weakness. Not a lion, not enemies, but something hidden in his own heart. And that can be harder to fight. Before sleep, let's remember, God knew Samson before birth. And God knows you too. He made you with purpose. He gave you gifts. And He wants you to use them with love and wisdom. So tonight, when you close your eyes, remember you are chosen too, and heaven has not forgotten your name. Good night, little ones, and get ready, because Samson's adventure is only beginning. To be continued. Episode 2, The Secret That Could Break a Hero. Should we continue with Episode 2 when Samson meets his greatest test? Let me know in the comments. And subscribe so you don't miss the next Bible adventure.